I was home alone for the weekend, which is unusual because my husband travels a lot for work. But this time, he decided to take a long overdue break and stay at home, and snuggled up on the couch with my phone and a bag of microwave popcorn. I was so relaxed until I heard a strange noise. It sounded like someone dragging something heavy across the floor upstairs. I assumed it was one of the kids, but when I called out, "Who's up there?" "Okay, Mom," he said, and he headed back to his room. We had a big picture window in the living room that overlooked the front yard. This time I could see its mouth moving, and it was making a sound, gurgling wet sound, like someone trying to speak underwater. Panic started to rise in my chest, squeezing the breath from my lungs. It was pacing back and forth, its footsteps soft and soundless. I ran to my son's room and threw open the door. "Get up," I whispered urgently. "We have to get out of here." We didn't stop to grab a bag or anything else. Just got in and drove away, keeping a close eye on the house in the rearview mirror. As we got farther away, I could feel my fear start to fade, replaced by a growing sense of dread. I knew we had made the right decision by leaving, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. He looked at me, confused. "What? Why? What's going on?" Face in the window, pale and gaunt, with sunken eyes and a twisted smile. It was the same face I had seen before, the one that had terrified me to the core. But this time it was different. This time it was waving, and when it did, I noticed something else. The handprint on the window, it was moving. The handprint was moving. "I don't have time to explain," I hissed. "Just get up." I helped him dress, and we crept downstairs together. Also check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye. I backed away from the window and hurried to lock it. But when I turned the key, it wouldn't budge. I kept my eyes on the window, watching for any movement. The scratching had stopped. Maybe it had gone away. I started to feel a sense of relief. Maybe it had all been a dream. But then I heard a noise behind me, someone clearing their throat. I whirled around and saw my husband standing in the doorway, his eyes wide with alarm. "What's going on? Are you guys dressed like that? Is everything okay?" I looked at him, then at my son, who was now awake and staring at our feet. "What?" "We saw something," I whispered, my voice shaking. The lock had jammed. I rattled the handle frantically, but the window wouldn't budge. I screamed for my son, but he didn't come. It was 2 stories tall and wrapped from one side of the room to the other. Its skin was stretched tight over its bones, and its teeth were long and yellowed, like the fangs of a snake. Then it did something that made my blood run cold. It pressed its palm against the glass and left a print. A handprint, the same shape and color as the rest of its face. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair. As I stood there watching the shadows dance in the moonlight, I saw a face pressed against the glass. I froze, my heart pounding. The face was pale and gaunt, with sunken eyes and a twisted smile.
Out.
It was like something out of a horror movie. I blinked, and when I looked again, the face was gone. I told myself it was just a trick of the light. Maybe a branch had fallen and hit the window. I pulled back the curtains and looked out. There were no branches anywhere. I watched him go. Something wasn't right. Then I heard a scratching sound coming from the other side of the house. I sighed and set the baseball bat down. This was going to be a long night. No one answered. I figured it must have been the wind. Our old house makes a lot of noises when the wind blows through the gaps in the windows and doors. So it was just me, the kids, and the dog for 3 whole days. I got up, grabbed my trusty baseball bat, which I keep beside the bed for emergencies, and headed upstairs to investigate. I could hear the wind outside whistling through the gaps in the windows. I was frozen in place, the baseball bat lying forgotten on the floor beside me. I could hear the creature outside, its nails scratching against the window pane. Then I felt it. Something brushed against my leg, and I screamed. I fell backward, knocking over a lamp. I scrambled away from it, groping for the door in the darkness. There were 6 steps leading up to the 2nd floor, and as I climbed them slowly, I strained to listen, quiet. Then I heard it again, a distinct dragging sound followed by a loud crash. I reached the top of the stairs and walked toward the noise, gripping the bat tightly. I peered into the dark hallway. Nothing. I called out, "Hello," my voice echoing in the stillness. "Is anyone there?" Still nothing. I had plans to have some fun, Maybe watch a few movies, eat takeout, do some online shopping. But those plans didn't go exactly as expected. Back then, people liked their living spaces to be grand. My bedroom was at the end of that hallway, and on the other side was my son's room. As I stood there listening, I heard a soft thump from inside my son's room. I knocked on the door. "Hey, buddy, you okay?" No answer. I tried the doorknob. It was locked. I called out again. "Hey, are you playing a game? You can't lock me out." I heard what sounded like a muffled sob. I pounded on the door. "Lock this door right now," and then I heard my son's key in the lock. He opened the door and stepped out. "What's going on, Mom? You scared the crap out of me?" I asked him, "What were you doing in there? What was that noise?" "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, his eyes wide and innocent. "I was just playing a video game." I looked at him for a moment, trying to decide if I believed him or not. But I couldn't help but notice that his hands were shaking. "Are you sure?" I asked. He nodded, still looking innocent. "Yeah, I was just playing a video game." I knew that look. He was hiding something. And as a cop, I was trained to spot the signs. It started off great. After the kids went to bed, I took a hot bath, lit some candles, poured myself a glass of wine, but about an hour later, I heard the noise again, dragging, scraping thud. The house had been built in 1920, and the rooms were huge. "Okay, well, if you need anything, just call me, okay?" I made my way downstairs into the window. Then I saw it again, the same face, staring at me from just outside the window. As I struggled to free myself from the window, I saw the face again, closer now, its eyes boring into mine. And then it happened. The power went out. The house was plunged into darkness. When I finally found it and stumbled out into the hallway, I could hear the creature moving about outside the window. Outside, the full moon hung like a silver dollar in the sky. Together, my husband and I got the kids into the car. Then, just as the house disappeared from view, I saw it. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to subscribe for more content like this.